Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm your host, Locke Hoover, and as always, you can follow me on X at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on X. You can also check us out at E5280 Sports. That's E5280 Sports. And today on the Lock It Down Sports show, the Adidas deal is done. A positive development for the Atlanta Braves. MLB strikes the deal, and the SEC makes changes. And today I want to start with Adidas. And what I mean by the Adidas deal is done, that is the Tennessee Volunteers and Adidas have struck a 10-year deal for $200 million, which is a $20 million a year deal to be the apparel for Tennessee a year. Now, with this $20 million deal, they're a flagship school now for Adidas. What that means is that's just like Nike is to Oregon. You know, flagship school, top dollar, top of the line, apparel, money, stuff, shirts, whatever, etc., shorts, apparel that they get themselves. So they're the top of the top, the cream of the cream when it comes to Adidas and their schools and other schools that they represent. This is a big deal for a couple reasons. Tennessee now has big time NIL money to compete with the Texases, with the Oregons, with the Ohio States, etc., that are big time Nike, are stuff supplied by Nike. Now let's look back a little bit. I know I've touched on a lot of this, or some of this in previous podcasts. I did more extensive, but now the deal's done, we get some more details of the overall outlook of the deal. Remember now, Tennessee is getting $20 million a year that kicks in 2026. The Nike deal was $50 to $60 million a year total. The entire, 50, 60 in the entire contract, and averaged $4.5 to $5.5 million a year, depending on, what you're looking at. So, very simple question. I'm going to ask you, if your job offered you $15.5 or so more million dollars, would you take that offer to do the exact same thing? Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, is it not? Also, with that money, with that $15.5 million more that you'd be getting, you'd also be getting more products. So you're getting more t-shirts, more jerseys, more hoodies, more shorts, more apparel. You're getting royalties. You're getting more royalties, and you're getting perks. Perks, aka in this realm, NIL. How would you not say no to that? Yes, you might be a little bit different shade of orange, a little bit different shade of black, a little bit different shade of white. But how can you not say no to that? And here's the also thing with this. You get offered that money, that deal, and you present that to your boss and say, hey, here's a deal I've got. Can you match this? No, we can't match it. Okay. Thank you for your time. I really enjoyed working with you. I'm going to go take the $15.5 million. It's exactly what happened with Tennessee and Adidas. It's pretty much a no-brainer to me. I think another big thing with this is Tennessee has and will get to keep creative control. And what I mean by that, what that means is the overall look. Hey, we don't like that jersey, we ain't wearing it. Or, hey, we want to incorporate this in a jersey. Or, you know what? We want to honor Pat Summitt and do some of that baby blue. We want to sprinkle that into a jersey, you know. Maybe that's the outlining of our numbers one game. Or whatever. Instead of like some white, maybe we have the baby blue. Maybe the baby blue's the numbers on the white or the orange. Whatever. They can do it because it's them, their control. They do what they want. Also, this is going to start immediately. NIL deals with players. So Adidas, hey, here's $500,000 from us, Adidas. Here you go. Here's a check. Here's $1 million. Whatever, whatever their deal, whatever they work out with players that are in Knoxville already and maybe thinking about coming to play for Tennessee. A little pot sweetener. We all know this is what matters more to players than if they were at a Nike school. Yes, to me, all the apparel is about the same. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of different feel for some things compared to others, but it's all the same feel. Yeah, the look's a tick different, whatever. But this is where we are now when it comes to NIL and this type of college football environment. Oh, you know what? I actually am a big Adidas fan now, That $500,000, that really made me a big time Adidas guy, Big time Adidas fan. And that can be a deciding factor now. Especially the cost of overall guys and players in the portal. And I still believe this, and it's ran to be true. You win through your recruiting, and then you plug in guys from the portal. Oh, I need that cornerback. I need that running back, that safety, that offensive tackle. Plug a guy or two in like the NFL free agency. Maybe that $500,000 gets that guy over the hump to say, you know what? I'd look good in orange in Knoxville. I think so, Then why not? What's the cry? What's the upset? What's the bother? I don't see one at all. I think it's a win-win for all individuals. The school, for Adidas, and for, I want to say, you, the fan, because that's more money coming in, and therefore that might mean more ones on the field because you've got that money to use. And I've talked about this, other things on other podcasts about like different schools and the money that they're getting in with Under Armour and Nike and other Adidas schools, like bigger schools. You can go back and listen to that and check that out on the Lock It Down Sports podcast. So something that's been a positive development for an overall bad season for the Braves is really two. And I think it could really potentially could change the outlook of the offseason plans for the Braves. And that's the starting staff. And that is Herschel Waldrop and Joey Wentz and the 2026 rotation outlook. Man, oh man, has Herschel Waldrop taken advantage of his opportunity and developed and continued to get better and better and better. Because remember, I'm going all the way back to spring training. he was passed over very quickly in spring training. He wasn't with the big club very much at all. And then during the season, I know Joey Wentz has been good, but I'll tell you his numbers in a sec. But he was passed over for Joey Wentz, Eric Fetty, and Carlos Carrasco before they're like, and Didi Fortes, the 20-year-old, had pitched in single A, double A, and a little bit in triple A and got called up. All those guys before Herschel Waldrop even got the call. And it was out of necessity. It was looking around. Hurston, you're our guy. This is what we've got. Remember now, Joey Wentz had a career 5.35 ERA in the big leagues and had not made a start in a game this year. Eric Fetty was released by the Cardinals, was 3-10 with a 5.22 ERA. Carlos Carrasco, 5.91 ERA in 8 games, and was mostly in AAA with the Yankees. And the Braves traded a player to be named later or cash for him. So they traded assets, whether that's money or a quad A reliever or maybe a random prospect, who knows. But they gave up assets for Carlos Carrasco. Still not thinking Waldrop was ready. Well, all Hurston Waldrop has done in 4 starts, technically 3, because they didn't count the Cincinnati game as a 4th start. But 4 starts, he's 4-0 with a .73 ERA. .73 ERA, a .77 whip in 24 2/3 innings pitched with 24 Ks. So if those are his basic numbers, you know his advanced stats are good too. And all it took from him was 1 start. What I mean by that is Bristol. He pitched well in the Cincinnati game up in Bristol against the Reds. And they're like, 5 2/3. Let's give him another start. And just what he's done, it's been remarkable and very much needed. And I was talking about development. There's been two changes. One, when Sean Murphy was rehabbing in AAA, he goes, why don't you should try throwing a sinker? And guess what? He started throwing a sinker, and it's worked. And then in AAA, his AAA pitching coach goes, you know what? Let's work on your cutter. He added a cutter, and that's been a great pitch for him as well to go along with his nasty splitter he's always had. And he's got a quality slider now. The development he has had this year, light and day. And he's got an opportunity to grab a spot next year in the rotation with Sale, Strider, which I think he'll get back to pitching well, Swellingbach, when he's healthy, and Hurston Waldrop. That sounds like a pretty good 4. You got Holmes, AJ Smith-Shawver out for all or majority of the year because of Tommy John. Renato Lopez, you don't know. He's been out all year with a shoulder injury. He said he wants to stay in the rotation next year. Great. We need you on the mound to do it. So very well important development in a time of need when there's no pressure either. He can just go out and pitch and get an opportunity because we've seen who the Braves have run out. Bryce Elder struggled. The Eric Fetties, Carlos Carrasco. They just signed Cole Quantrill, who got waived by the Marlins. So if he was pitching okay-ish, he would have been fine. And the way he's pitching right now, I don't think this is going to happen. But let's just say he ends with an ERA low 4s. You take the progress this year of what he's done, with obviously without a doubt, and you go, we might have something here of this is what we drafted him for. The talent we liked was there, and then the changes and the tweaks he's been able to make because of us, because we listened to him. Because, as in we, I mean, Wardrop listening to the coaching staff for the Braves. Miraculous change of events and could totally change his outlook and his career. Same thing for Joey Wentz. Pitched great in Atlanta. 2.60 ERA and 34 2/3 innings. Looked sharp. Looked good. Has all the makings. Should be a 4-5 starter. And the way he's pitching right now, he's going to have an opportunity at spring training next year. Also, the nice thing, he's still got arbitration years. And he's got 3 or 4 years before he even becomes a free agent. So you look at 2 cheap years at least before that big arbitration number hits. If you can get a solid production, cheap in for, as a 3 or as a 2-3, maybe even 4 years, as a back end 4-5 starter type, then you can spend that money elsewhere. Maybe you don't have to go out and bring in a $5 to $10 million back end rotation guy to be healthy and pitch 32 starts. Because next year, going to spring training, I'm assuming the battle is Bryce Elder, Wardrop, maybe one of the rookies that they have in AAA for the 5th spot. Maybe it's a veteran they sign for that, and then that 5th spot's Elder, Wardrop, Wentz. What are you doing with Ronaldo Lopez? I mean, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of health concerns too with Strider, with Sale, with Swellenbach. If you want to throw the health concern in with Ronaldo Lopez as well, absolutely. So very important development. Good to see from both these guys in Wardrop and Joey Wentz to be potentially be an answer next year for the Braves rotation. Now, I think this is a good thing for Major League Baseball. Not as good of a thing for the consumer and a fan of Major League Baseball, as they're very much trying to become the NFL, which is a good thing. And what I mean by that is different media partners spread all over the place. It just been reported NBC will now air Sunday night games. Then possibly, which that's great being on national network. Then possibly some of those games shifting to the Peacock, the streaming service, depending on what the NFL outlook and the NBA outlook is with their conflicts of them airing games. Also being reported too that they could get a wild card leftover games that ESPN, for part of ESPN's original deal, coming up next year. Once again, just the exposure I think is wise and is better than ESPN because it's national television and easier for people to watch and see than potentially ESPN. So that whole deal, the ESPN Sunday night, NBC Sunday Night Baseball deal is worth around $200 million. Also been reported Netflix will be airing the Home Run Derby for $35 million annually, which seems like a high price for one event. Quite interesting. And then Major League Baseball is also signing a deal with ESPN involving MLB TV. So that's the streaming service. If I'm out of market, I live in Cleveland and want to watch the Braves, MLB TV for that, their streaming subscription service. So they're signing a deal with ESPN and the 5 clubs involved that don't have media right deals. So like the Guardians, the Diamondbacks, etc. They don't have TV deals that are operated through Major League Baseball. They run them. So there would be part of that deal as well. Now, not completely sure full yet on the money deal in that aspect for ESPN taking MLB TV and the 5 clubs. So there's nothing known about that. Also, with that distribution, games will be on ESPN as well. But it'll be something other than Sunday night. Might be a Monday night game, a Wednesday night game, whatever. I think it'd be wise if they did a Tuesday or Wednesday, or Saturday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, one of those 2 days, because then you're not competing with the NFL. And Tuesday would work even during college football season. You have your action on ESPN or ESPN2, the baseball game the other night, or keep it simple, just a Wednesday night. They're not competing with anybody. You're good on that end. So those, I think, would be one of those 2 days would be the best days for it to be the ESPN baseball game. Now, overall, this is believed to be around all these deals I'm saying being around $550 million, which is a little bit more than they got from their ESPN deal when the ESPN walked out the deal. So I think that's a good thing. Here's one of the biggest issues I'm seeing. It's being reported is that Robert Manfred doesn't want to sign anything long-term for these TV deals. Wants a short-term deal and nothing beyond 2028 is being discussed. And to me, that's very risky and a bad thing. And here's why. It's bad because you could be potentially competing with the NFL for media rights deals, as their contracts can be up in 2029 if they opt out, which they probably will, because they give them the option to opt out, so they're going to opt out and get more money. Networks and media partners are always going to pick the NFL over Major League Baseball. Always, always, always. 10 times out of 10. Which means that following deal, TV deal, media partner deal, whatever, Major League Baseball could get less. And because of the deal the NBA signed with ESPN, I think that's why ESPN walked out on you, because they're saddled with a bad NBA deal. So I think that's part of the issue with signing the deal short term. Yes, I know it's all about timing and what content or programming. I mean, I guess, or the other end, you could look at it as well. We hope not every network is going to get the NFL. So maybe that network that misses out goes all in and pays more for Major League Baseball. Maybe that's a hope as well. So timing's everything. It's very much obviously a wait and see, but I think it's pretty risky with how they're doing that. Now, speaking of risky, I think it's risky for the SEC to go to 9 conference games. So they just announced that there'll be a 9-game conference SEC schedule. Each team will play 3 annual opponents, maintaining rivalries. I think for some schools it's going to be tricky to find those 3. I mean, I think, for an example, Tennessee. You go Vandy, probably because of the in-state. You go with Alabama. Then who? Georgia's an option. Florida's an option. Kentucky's an option. Potentially South Carolina's an option. Those are all options. There's not a surefire, easy 3 teams. Auburn, I think, is about as easy as it can get. Georgia, Bama, LSU. pretty much easy as can be. And then, I mean, Texas and Oklahoma are pretty easy as well. So Texas, you got Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Arkansas. You know, those are easy peasy lemon squeezy ones. Then you got others. It's maybe yes, and they said they're going to try to make it fair and balanced. So for some schools, so like a Tennessee, or for like a, or South Carolina, or however. I mean, that's not an easy road for Auburn at all. But those are the three rivals. If you ask any Auburn fan, it's yeah, of course Alabama, Georgia, and LSU. I mean, who else would you throw in there if you are Auburn? Not really Texas A&M. You can't say, oh yeah, we have a deep hatred for South Carolina. It's like, oh really? Do you? Do you now? So I think for slot schools, that third one's going to be the one to watch. Also in this, I do like how they're doing the rest of this though. So then each team will play 6 games, rotating the remaining conference. Each team will also face every program at least once every 2 years, and every opponent home and away in 4 years, which I like that. I mean, I think of all the changes, that's the best one for the schools, for the fan bases, getting experience of playing and the fun of playing different teams in your conference, your environment, their traditions. It's just to see how things are handled like, on the road. Oh, I'm Tennessee fan. I've never been to Oklahoma. That's a bad example because they went last year, but I've never been to Texas. Let's see how, the stadium is, the environment, etc. Same thing coming to Neyland. So getting to see all that, I think, is a very, very good thing. And then also, SEC is keeping this rule as well, where they're still required to play one non-conference Power 4 school. And I like that. I like keeping that rule in place as well. More big-time college football matchups in non-conference, which is a good thing overall for college football. I think the only reason I can see that they're adding a 9th conference game, is money. I don't think they were bullied. I don't think they were pressured to do it. We don't have to do it. We're the SEC. We don't have to do it. We don't need to do it because we're playing our 8 games and then our Power 4 non-conference school. So there's your 9 big games or tough games, or Power 4 Power 4 school games. So you get that you had that taken care of. I said they didn't need to do it, especially how they saw the playoff committee view strength of schedule. Now maybe the playoff committee changes their tune a little bit on that, who you played, where you played, when you played, determining the best teams in conference. So it's I think it's a good thing overall for college football. And I think SEC as well, but you get to see better games. It wasn't needed, but here we are with it, and that'll start going to effect next year. So they'll have to figure out the main 3 schools the end of this year to know what they're doing and where they're going with that. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. I'm Locke Hoover. You listen to Lock It Down Sports. I'll talk to you next week.